show that's 3 dimensions away from Captain America the Winter Soldier being called Captain America 2. I'm your host, 3D Jake, and today we're looking at Captain America the Winter Soldier, released in 2014. Captain America the Winter Soldier was directed by Joe and Anthony Russo, who would go on to direct Captain America the Civil War and, I don't know, just two of the biggest Avenger movies of all time, Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, and the upcoming Avengers Secret Wars and Avengers Doomsday. The movie is written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, again, writers who would go on to follow the Russos and all the other projects. And the movie stars, once again, Chris Evans, this time around Scarlett Johansson, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Samuel L. Jackson, Colby Smulders, Frank Grillo, and Robert Redford. The movie is a sequel to the Avengers movie and to the first Captain America, where Steve Rogers, who's working for S.H.I.E.L.D., he's trying to live his life, trying to adjust to normal balance. And he goes and visits Peggy because she's like an 80 or 100-year-old woman now. And he's trying to adjust into society and everything, and he still goes on S.H.I.E.L.D. missions, and him and Black Widow are close and everything. And of course, and S.H.I.E.L.D's keeping an eye on him. That's why his nurse is a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. Not his nurse, but like his next door neighbor that pretends to be a nurse is a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. And of course, but then of course when Nick Fury uncovers a secret that that S.H.I.E.L.D. is about to launch basically a Hydra weapon that basically will target all of its enemies, and then it's discovered that S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually Hydra that's just going to wipe out all of its basically the idealists that do not agree with their values and are a threat to them. Well, yeah. So Captain America has to team up and everything with a guy who is called the Falcon, played by Anthony Mackie, and of course Black Widow, and of course Nick Fury, to stop Hydra. I really, really, really love this movie. This is my favorite Captain America movie because the first one I like it, but I felt like this is the movie I wanted from the get go. I'm like, I want a Captain America movie, him modern day fighting, Nazis. That's all I want. And this is kind of that, I like the fact that, that S.H.I.E.L.D., he's basically like Captain America, he's wanted. And then, S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually Hydra in disguise. And so basically these are modern day neo-Nazis that have the Red Skull's ideology of hey, we're going to wipe out all of, we want to wipe out all of our enemies, basically commit genocide against, people who have different values of life, ideal views of life. I thought that was interesting. And then they try to kill Nick Fury when he uncovers this. And then, of course, and it turns out his boss, Nick Fury's boss, who is one of his best friends he went to war with and everything, literally is his greatest enemy. Is literally one of the heads of Hydra. And it turns out, and I love this ideology of this story. This story of hey, look, S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually Hydra, and that's just so crazy. And it's you have he said, oh yeah, you took all the Nazis after the war ended, and we worked on this project. Which there is some stuff into this movie that's actually true. After World War II ended in real life, the Nazis actually did help us with the space program and stuff, and help advance our technology because they're hey, look, man, it's crazy that you have all this knowledge. Why don't we, instead of killing you, why don't you come work for us and we'll pardon you? Which is freaking crazy we did that. But you know what? I mean, it got us to the moon, and also it advanced our technology. So, I mean, tomatoes, tomatoes. But I do think that I do like the idea that, but that these Nazis in this movie, in this fictional world, they basically put this backing coding that basically said, hey, we're keeping this ideology alive. We're just implementing it, and so basically the next generation can carry this ideology over and so forth, and then eventually it's revealed S.H.I.E.L.D. is Hydra in disguise, and there are people, and it just Captain America is the number one threat because he's investigating Fury's death. And so he's trying to find this out and everything. And then, of course, they frame him as the public enemy number one. And then on top of all that, there is an assassin that tried to kill Nick Fury called the Winter Soldier, who is actually Bucky Barnes, who survived his fall from the first movie. And that they wiped his mind. He's basically an assassin for hire. And, and he's just going around doing all of Hydra's bidding for him. And it's just so cool. And it's I just love this movie. And I do like the idea of, there's obviously... I remember when I saw the first trailer for this movie, and you seen when they're whenever it's that cool trailer where he says Robert Redford's and that makes enemies, and you see shots, and you see these action shots, and of course when he says, before we get started, does anyone want to get out? And then they start attacking him in the elevator. That was so cool. And then of course You have like him, the Winter Soldier, fighting on the bridge, and then of course him, and then of course Black Widow and everything, and he tells the Falcon, "You're up. It's time." And you see the Falcon wings, and then of course, whenever you see him in his old costume, like punching, on top of the shield carrier, punching his shield down. Oh man, that was just that was so cool. I'm like, okay, you have me. And I remember seeing this in theaters premiere night on a Thursday. It was a double feature with the first Captain America because my buddy, who is one of my oldest friends, me and him like literally got premiere tickets, and we basically he did the double feature and everything. Whereas Cinemark had, whereas you had Captain America First Avenger and Captain America Winter Soldier. We come in at the end of the first Avenger, and we watched the first Avenger, and then of course they played Winter Soldier, and Winter Soldier, I remember just being blown away. Like the movie didn't go off till like 10 o'clock, 10 or 11, and it was so good. I just remember like, oh my god, this is like one of the best movies ever made. Like this is like it was one of my top 10 movies of 2014. Top, I don't even know if it was maybe even top five. But I just remember this movie was so good. I remember that I love watching, when it's revealed that, which obviously they've spoiled it, before this movie even got made, that, oh yeah, it's the Winter Soldier is, Bucky. I mean, but, so like you could see that coming a mile away because they spoiled it. Like Sebastian Stan was even like at Comic Con promoting it as the Winter Soldier and stuff like that, so it was fine. I like the movie though and everything, especially. I thought really like Frank Grillo was great as like the Shield agent. That's really, and there's like a cool sequence whenever in the third act when Captain America, he has to third act, because when after his fight with the Winter Soldier and everything, like he basically Hill goes undercover, goes green, goes undercover underground because Fury's dead and everything, and then like Winter, it's up to like, and then he has to team up, go out, reach out to this guy called the Falcon, who's, and they team up with him to try to find out who all the targets are and everything. And then of course once the Winter Soldier kills that guy, and there's a big fight in the bridge, and then they're going to execute them. And then like how Hill saves the day and stuff. I like when they bring him into the Shield. Fury's not even dead, but the Doctor is helping him as one of the directors of the movie, which is so cool. And then of course, like he goes like, okay, so all of their outfits are compromised. So he goes to the museum and steals his old Captain America shield. And I just love that how he steals the Captain America outfit, and he goes to fight. He tells like everybody, Shield is Hydra, and then he says they're probably your best friend. It could be anybody. And so they're all like, it's paranoia, and everything. And then of course once then it turns into a shootout because that's when they see Hydra agents come in and demand that they launch the missiles because they're gonna go the helicarrier because they're gonna start targeting their enemies today. And it just becomes like a big shootout, and everybody's just killing each other. I'm like, oh, this is dope. This is like, where he's like, boom, 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 and I'm like, oh, damn, like, yeah, because it's like, and especially like the hell and the Shield agents are like trying to stop the area, and all of a sudden the other Hydra agents are shooting them and killing them, and then the Winter Soldier shows up and he's just wrecking everybody, and then he throws even that grenade, and like then they're like, Captain America needs our help. The Shield agents are trying to get in the get inside, and all of a sudden the Winter Soldier throws a grenade and their ship and blows them up, and just starts killing them. I'm like, this is damn dope. And I don't like the fight scene in the third act on the helicarrier with the Winter Soldier and Captain America. I just think, I don't care as much for that. I do like it, the Falcon more when he's up there and he tries to the Winter Soldier destroys his wings, and then he goes up there in the building and stuff, and he's trying to fight, Brock Rumlow. I thought that was great because he's like, and everything, and how Fury shows up and he's like, I'm alive, and Black Widow. And then like he kills like how Alexander Pierce kills all the entire council, and then like except for Black Widow and everything, and then of course he's like, I'm gonna get out of here and everything, and then Fury just kills him, and then he just goes, as he gets shot and dies, he's like, Hell Hydra, and I just thought that was so cool. And I also like how like at the beginning of the movie how Captain America looks at the museum of like his heroes and how everybody's gone except for Peggy. And then and I like how at the end, like when after that they fight and everything, how the Winter Soldier's beating the shit out of him. He's like, I'm never gonna love you. Go say, I don't know you, and eventually like he just snaps out of it, and then basically saves Captain America's life as he's like, we're gonna die together, man. And I thought that was so poetic and beautiful. And I also really like how when the ship, like the only thing I will say about this movie is, I I don't necessarily I like the end. I even love the credits of the movie. Like I thought the composer Henry Jackman who does the Matthew Vaughn movies. I really like I love the credits for this more than the first Captain America. I think it has a great theme and it feels like it's a political spy thriller, and I do like that. I thought that was really great. The only thing I'm trying to think if I could criticize is I do wish that they brought the same council members back that they had the first in the Avenger movies, because you see, because these are not the same people if you look at them. I do also wish, like I said, the only thing, there is some like CGI that is outdated now, where it's like, okay, like whenever you see like some of the explosions and stuff, you're like, especially when the helicarrier stuff, you're like, okay, that does not look as realistic as it used to now. But I mean, other than that, I would say the movie is a damn good, perfect movie, and I just love this movie so much. If I had to give this movie a grade, I'm gonna give it an A plus. Thank you so much.
Sharpton for president, y'all. I'm outie.
Jesse Jackson for VP.